Hello there and happy Thursday. For those who I have not met before, my name is Lori and I am a business success coach who helps aspiring digital nomads and entrepreneurs to build profitable and scalable remote-based businesses that give them the freedom of time and location that they want in their life, and allowing them to hit their goals of $10,000 plus in their business within a year or less. Today, I am joined by Ashley Deluca, who is a podcaster and keynote speaker. Ashley is widely regarded as the go-to source for all things email marketing for e-commerce and service-based businesses. And she has been featured on Thrive Global, Funnel Magazine, GoDaddy, Mind of George, and many others. And Ashley will be the first to admit that she's obsessed with avocados. Me too, by the way. Sea turtles and email marketing, and won't ever pass up a good cup of coffee. Kindred spirits here. So welcome, Ashley. Thank you so much for joining me today. Would love it if you could kind of expand on that and just give us a little bit of background on you and what kind of brought you here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Ashley Deluca. I am an email communication strategist that originally started off as a web designer when I was 14 years old. Essentially, I was writing these macaroni and cheese stories to my little sister, and I found myself wanting to go through the process of, sharing that with the rest of the world. Being a very ambitious 14-year-old, and always grew up around library books. I went to the library to find books around blogging, HTML, CSS, and I started creating my first website with a laptop that I built with babysitting money. And so I originally went through, the whole process of going to college, got my first corporate job, thinking that was the path that I needed to take to be successful. And it was not very long into my corporate career that I realized I was a square peg in a round hole, and that I just did not fit in with the rest of the corporate lifestyle. Like I, really wanted to do website and social media and all of that really fun stuff. And I just kept getting denied to try to move up that corporate ladder. And so I was at Panera with my best friend Cece, and she was like, girl, just go and do it. Just go and do the things. And so I was like, all right. And so I started my very first business right there in Panera. Started that process 5 years ago, actually. And that's when I started to get introduced into email marketing. I was creating these websites. I started off just creating things for people on Craigslist, honestly, until I got my feet a little bit more sturdy inside of the online space. And I really found that as I was going through the process of doing email marketing for myself, for my own business at the time, for the web design side, that it just didn't flow for me. It didn't feel right. It was very newslettery. It was very corporate. It felt very much so all about me. And I wanted to bring a different kind of atmosphere environment for my campaigns that I sent out to my email subscribers. And so that's when the conversational email marketing method was born, which is really just designed to be able to create a conversation with your email subscribers that leads to you building relationships and sales.
That is, well, first off, that's an amazing story. I love that. And I love that you use library books to help you build your business, your online business. That's amazing, because you don't hear many people talking about library books anymore. I think today's generations maybe don't even know what that is anymore. But that's awesome. And you're so right, about everything you said. So I'm really excited to just, kind of talk a bit more about the conversational aspect of email marketing and how people can do that, and how they can really put through the touch points and build a relationship with subscribers. So if you could expand on that, awesome.
Yeah, 100%. So one of the biggest things that I found within, just marketing in general is that there are so many touch points that you have to do in order to be able to get to a sale. They say, and I feel like this number changes all the time, that you need like 9 touch points in order to be able to make a sale. And the power of email marketing is that you can actually go through the process of creating trust, going through the process of creating relatability, creating connection a lot faster because you're creating an intentional journey. Now, what does that even mean? A lot of times we think about, oh, okay, cool. Like we're just, creating an email and sending it out and pressing send to all of our subscribers. And while that's a common, easy method that a lot of people preach is just send the email out, there's so much power in creating intentionality, creating a specific campaign designed for your specific target audience based off of what you're primarily selling. And so for me, what that looks like is it looks like actually working backwards from the offer to exactly where my ideal client is right now. And I use stories in order to create relatability with the subscriber on the other side in order for them to, trust me, in order for them to feel like, oh my gosh, this girl totally gets me. She totally understands where I'm at, because 95% of the time I'm marketing to someone who I have already been in the same shoes at or have the same questions that I once had as well too around email.
That's awesome. Well, I think I told you, but most of the people in our audience are new entrepreneurs, just like fire, so and also I forgot to tell anybody who is watching, whether it is live or watching the replay, please feel free to ask questions. Even on the replay, we will go back and grab those questions. Please drop those in and go ahead and introduce yourself. Would love to hear from you, but everything that you're saying, I don't think people really think about it that way, especially when they're starting out. And it can all be very overwhelming. And it doesn't necessarily have to be. You said you're telling stories. Stories sell, and having those conversations with people. You don't need some like crazy strategy. It is just about finding the things that really connect with people, right? So, I guess let's go a little bit more into that, and how people can not only use the conversation and stories to reach their audience, but how can they really create conversations that are profitable within their emails, and to use email to actually sell their services or their products in a way that is conversational.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so the very first thing that I always like to share with people is that email marketing is part of your ecosystem. And so while I talk about how email is, in my opinion, the best way to be able to sell, to be able to go through the process of sharing and crafting the relationships, cutting through the touch points, it goes hand in hand with everything else. Because here's the thing, like even within your email open rates, it is literally all about going through the process of building a relationship with them and then using the subject line in a way that sparks curiosity. That is like the gist of it. That's the whole point. Like when you see Ashley Deluca pop into your inbox, you're thinking about, oh, the touch points you had with my podcast, the touch points that you had over with me over on Instagram. Like it all flows in within being able to then create a kind of expectation or idea of like, oh, this is the feeling that I get when I think of Ashley Deluca, right? And so when it comes to actually creating those conversations and selling within email, it's really important to first understand it's part of the ecosystem, so everything plays into it. But in the second time as well, too, it's very much so about not using the same language that you use on your sales page. Now, here's the kicker. A lot of times what we'll do is for a sales email, we'll copy and paste what was on the sales or the sales page and put it inside of the email and be like, oh, we're good. It was the same copy. It's all good. But a lot of times what ends up happening is we use a link to then take them over to the sales page to read the same dang thing. That don't make no sense. Okay. But second of all, the whole idea and the concept of the email is to get them to the next step. Oftentimes we think of when we're selling an email as the home run, right? That like, oh yeah, they're like, we're going to go all in. We're going to get all the things. Like we're going to check box all the, like all I want you to do for my email is get to my sales page, because my sales page is then going to do my sales page job, which is to then sell you into the thing. And so a lot of times we just put all of the eggs just in selling in the email, when in reality, you have to use the rest of your ecosystem using, an Instagram live that you did that you'll share with your audience that then allows for you to be able to be personalized and to be able to actually bring depth to the fact that like you are a real live person that actually cares about your peoples, right? And so it's really important to make sure those are. Now, the second, or maybe even this is the third thing now, I really truly believe that it is all about your tone. I love to go through the process of writing my emails out and then speaking them, because I'm able to pick up additional words, or I'll see that I skipped a word when I go to speak out the email, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make the email as if I literally am speaking it directly to you. So like the other day I was writing an email and I was like, I added in 2 words at the end and I was like, oh, wait a second, let me add that, because that's what I would say in real life. And so keeping the tone, letting email do its one job, which is to get them to the next step, and then allowing your sales page to do the rest. And really just making sure that you understand that like your ecosystem plays into you also making sales with email.
That's awesome. And, I know you said that you work with both service-based business owners, which a lot of who I work with, but you also work with, e-commerce brands. So those are definitely different in the types of businesses they are, but how does that really like differ in terms of their business? Is it different or is it still similar?
On the email side, it is a little bit different. The back end, so we have like the front end, which is like the broadcast that you send out, the one-time campaigns. And you have the back end, which is like all of your automations. The automation game is completely different. Usually in an e-commerce business, I can automate so much of it and create reminders and do all the things that there's more to do in the email side, as opposed to a service-based business. A lot of times you're communicating one-on-one, you're doing things within the email or via Voxer or Dubsado or whatever. So sometimes there isn't as much to do on the service-based side, but the concept is still the same. Like it's really all about creating a conversation with your subscriber by using relatability, by using the simple fact that you can create intentional connection points through a very concise journey that leads them from point A to point B with either your product or your service.
Awesome. Okay. And so now you've obviously touched a bit on the, open and click rates. And, you've talked a little bit about, creating this community. How can we talk a little bit more just, for everybody watching about how they can increase that open rate? And I guess first, for somebody that may be a beginner, let's start at the beginning and tell them what open and click rates are, but then how they can actually increase those rates and help them to build a community. And if you want to bring him on, feel free. Say hello. This is part of the ability to work from home.
Yeah, no, he had a diaper tab problem, and I was like, let me just put that diaper tab right back on. So we are good. We are good. Yeah, okay, so for the basics. So your open rate is essentially the percentage of people who opened your campaign. Now, when you have a small list, like I'm talking like under 100 people when you're starting out, your open rate is probably going to be pretty insane. It's going to be pretty awesome, right? And you're going to be like, holy guacamole, like this is so freaking cool. 99% of people open my emails. And then you get to like the 500 people mark and you're just like, why is it 99% of the people opening my emails? Like what the heck is happening? And so generally speaking, look it up based off of your industry. That's the best way I can tell you to do this. Generally speaking, you're looking for about a 30% open rate. Now, my average, I actually have my ConvertKit account pulled up here because I was doing some stuff, is, 46. But the way that you can go through the process of creating a really good open rate while having a larger list is all in the relationship that you create. It's all about the intentionality with your community, which we can get into in a second. And then for your click rate is specifically the percentage of people who opened your email who also clicked the link in the email. And so percentage wise, usually about 3% is what you're looking at. But again, it's really important to be able to take a look at both of those pieces and understand that like these are just numbers, right? Like you can have them higher, you can have them lower. It really also depends on your list health. Okay. And so the idea and the concept of creating a community really comes back to, again, creating that environment that they feel like you're speaking directly to them. So that's through specific campaigns. That is by you using a conversational tone. It is by you being very intentional about what you share with your audience and how you share it through stories. And so I've had people on my email list now who have been there since the beginning, 5 years now, who not necessarily are my ideal clients, but have been part of this journey and have seen my growth and development. They want to root me on. They want to know what's going on so they can support me. And I'm here for it. Now, the people who, end up not opening my emails, end up going cold, I allow them to go. It is totally, completely okay because, at the end of the day, I only want the people who really want to be at my party, right? Like, have you ever been to a party and no one wants to be there? Like, that is seriously, like, that's so boring, right? And so making sure that you regularly clean your list every 90 days, your email provider will give you a list of what those people are. Download their information. You can use it for Facebook ads later on. But the biggest thing is just knowing that it's okay to have a smaller list. You want the higher open and click rate. People get so obsessed with having larger lists. And I frankly don't understand it when their stats are like 2% opens and 0% click. Like, what is this doing for you? You're paying for a bunch of dead people to be on your email list. Like, that makes no sense. Exactly. And so there's a lot to it. There's a lot of pieces that are very strategic and, specific to helping you increase your open and click rates based off of the size of your list, what you have going on, all the things. But at the end of the day, it really is so important to consistently communicate with your people. Do it in a way that's very much so intentional, very much so based off of, where they're at on their journey and making sure that you're pulling out those people who are interested in what you have to say.
Wow, this has been just so awesome. And just comment there, Zadie. Just again, major key just dropped to keeping your list healthy, and it notes the minute there. So for everybody watching, if you're watching the replay, make sure you watch that because this has just been some amazing information. So, I want to make sure people know, how they can keep in touch with you and hear more of what you have to teach. Because as you said, you are a podcaster. So that is lucky for all of us in the audience here, for all of you new entrepreneurs that are trying to learn email marketing. Maybe you can't afford someone to do it for you yet. You can tune in to a podcast, right, on Spotify. So just tell us a little bit about your show if you could. We'll tell people how to find you.
Yeah, so my podcast is called The Communication Conversation, and really honestly, at the end of the day, I want to help you clearly communicate your gifts and communicate them to your audience. And my favorite channel is email marketing. And so at the end of the day, for me, I use my podcast as a way to be able to walk you through the process. It's part of my journey. I've been doing it now for 2-3 years. And, it's really about being able to show and document my journey as I grow in email marketing, as I learn new things, and bringing you guys along for the ride. So I just actually dropped an episode this week, and it's all about using Reddit for business. And this is something that if I would have known this when I was a new entrepreneur, it would have blown my freaking mind. I would be in a completely different spot than where I'm at right now. And so if you have I think the episode's less than 10 minutes. So definitely pop on over and listen to that episode because there's literally so much information and gold nuggets about how you can use Reddit, which is oftentimes totally forgotten about and just thinking about it for trolls, right? For business.
Okay, yes. And someone asked a question here. I'm not sure exactly what it is related to. It said, so this will be the list that we already have.
It might be in regards to the cold subscribers. So okay. So if you take Nick agrees. So most likely what it's going to be is it's most likely going to be a list that, yes, you already have. So these are subscribers that have already consented who then go basically dead or dark. They don't open or click your emails for 90 days. Your email provider will pull that list automatically for you and show you that specifically.
So yes, again, oops. I'm trying to keep up with the comments here. The email list, I guess I'm not sure exactly. There's email list and question mark. So if you want to expand on that.
Definitely expand.
Yes, if you can expand, if you're asking what an email list is. the next comment to drop. Otherwise, you can always pop it in later. I will be, making sure that I tag Ashley in this video on Instagram as well. So she will see those. And you can also visit her on Instagram. I've got her handle here up on the screen. It is at Ashley K. Deluca. And again, we will tag her in this video so you'll easily be able to connect to her. And then if you want to go ahead and catch that podcast that we were talking about, the Communication Conversation, you can check that out on Spotify. And I imagine that they can get through Instagram as well. So, okay, didn't get a comment back on what they were looking for there. So we'll go ahead and address that one later. But I want to thank you so much for joining me today, Ashley. This has been just such an awesome episode and something that we're going to lock in our arsenal, and we'll be keeping on our page and in our Facebook group as a reference to, all of those new business owners out there that are struggling with their email marketing and wondering what they should do. But definitely please, sorry, just answered. Thank you. Yes, was wondering if I could use this with new emails.
So for your cold subscribe, if I can understand correctly, I apologize. So for your cold subscribers, you wouldn't necessarily do that with new emails. Your new emails, you would want to set up a welcome sequence that then indoctrinates them into your world and gives them the first, basically the first piece of your offer.
Okay. Got it. Hopefully that answered the question for our watchers here. Okay. You've got someone there who's anxious for mom to be done here too. So again, if you guys want to connect with Ashley and catch some more of this education, go ahead and catch her podcast. So thank you again, Ashley, for joining us. And then for everybody watching, again, at the Zennial Traveler here, if you are struggling with building your online business and need some help, always reach out. We are here to help you however we can. And looking forward to staying connected with you, Ashley. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Have a great day.